of Alabama sheriffs and poor Alabama ladies, white ladies. Their moral lives have been destroyed by the plague called color. But the American sense of reality has been corrupted by it. At the risk of sounding excessive, what I always felt when I finally left the country, found myself abroad in other places, and watched Americans abroad. And these are my countrymen. And I do care about them. And even if I didn't, there is something between us. We have the same shorthand. I know. I look at a girl or a boy from Tennessee, where they came from in Tennessee, and what that means. No Englishman knows that, no Frenchman, no one in the world knows that, except another black man who comes from the same place.
Really?
One
Man,
watches
DJ smells so good out here
these
live
lonely people,
on the corner of 40th.
denying the only kin they had.
Dropping knowledge, just knowledge.
We talk about integration in America as though it was some
I'm giving
huge
treats.
conundrum.
You know what I'm saying? With no
The problem in
tricks.
America is that we've been integrated for a very long time.
James Baldwin
Put
versus
me next to
William
any
F.
African.
Buckley debate.
You will see what I
You know what I'm
mean.
saying? I put some music.
My grandmother was not a racist.
music so you can really listen.
What we are not facing
And I do not own the copyright to any of the audio.
is the
All
result
audio is
of
being
what
used
we've
for
done.
educational purposes only.
Hey, what one begs the American people
Check out
to do for all our sakes
WDJRadio.space.
is simply to accept our history. I was there not only as a slave, but also as a concubine. One knows the power, after all, which can be used against another person if you've got absolute power over that person. It seemed to me when I watched Americans in Europe that what they didn't know about Europeans was what they didn't know about me. They weren't trying, for example, to be nasty to the French girl or rude to the French waiter. They didn't know they hurt their feelings. They didn't have any sense that this particular woman, this particular man, though they spoke another language and had different manners and ways, was a human being. And they walked over them with the same kind of bland ignorance, condescension, charming, cheerful, with which they'd always patted me on the head and called me shy, and were upset when I was upset. What is relevant about this is that whereas 40 years ago when I was born, the question of having to deal with what is unspoken by the subjugated, what is never said to the master, of having to deal with this reality was a very remote possibility. It was in no one's mind. When I was growing up, I was taught in American history books that Africa had no history, and neither did I. That I was a savage, about whom the less said the better, who had been saved by Europe and brought to America. And of course, I believed it. I didn't have much choice.
Right. And all the
Those were the only
bullshit they
books
gave
there
you.
were.
All the bullshit they gave you.
Everyone else seemed to agree.
All
If you
the
walk
bullshit.
out of Harlem, ride out of Harlem, downtown, the world agrees. What you see is much bigger, cleaner, whiter, richer, safer than where you are. They collect the garbage. People obviously can pay their life insurance. The children look happy, safe. You're not. And you go back home. And it would seem then, of course, that it's an act of God, that this is true, that you belong where white people have put you. It is only since the Second World War that there's been a counter image in the world. And that image not come about through any legislation on the part of any American government, but through the fact that Africa was suddenly on the stage of the world, and Africans had to be dealt with in a way they'd never been dealt with before. This gave an American Negro for the first time a sense of himself beyond a savage or a clown. It has created and will create a great many conundrums. One of the great things that the white world does not know, but I think I do know, is that black people are just like everybody else. One has used the myth of Negro and the myth of color to pretend and to assume that you are dealing essentially with something exotic, bizarre, and practically, according to human laws, unknown. Alas, it is not true. We are also mercenaries, dictators, murderers, liars. We are human too. What is crucial here, unless we can manage to establish some kind of dialogue between those people whom I pretend has paid for the American dream and those other people who have not achieved it, we will be in terrible trouble. I want to say at the end, the last, is that is what concerns me most. We are sitting in this room and we are all, at least we like to think we are, relatively civilized, and we can talk to each other at least on certain levels. So that we could walk out of here assuming that the measure of our enlightenment, or at least our politeness, has some effect on the world. It may not. I remember, for example, when the ex-Attorney General, Mr. Robert Kennedy, said that it was conceivable that in 40 years in America we might have a Negro president. And that sounded like a very emancipated statement, I suppose, to white people.
Barack Obama.
They were not in Harlem
40 years.
when this statement was first heard.
He made it.
They did not hear, and possibly will never hear, the laughter and the bitterness and the scorn with which the statement was greeted. From the point of view of the man in the Harlem barbershop, Bobby Kennedy only got here yesterday. And now he's already on his way to the presidency. We've been here for 400 years, and now he tells us that maybe in 40 years, if you're good, we may let you become president. What is dangerous here is the turning away from anything any white American says. The reason for the political hesitation in spite of the Johnson landslide is one has been betrayed by American politicians for so long. And I'm a grown man, and perhaps I can be reasoned with. I certainly hope I can be.
I got excuse the truck door.
But I don't know.
I'm live out here in the hood, man.
And neither does Martin Luther King. None of us know how to deal with those other people whom the white world has so long ignored, who don't believe anything the white world says, and don't entirely believe anything I or Martin
In the hood. So that's how the
and
train
one
folk,
can't
baby,
blame
Tampa,
them.
Florida.
Watch what has happened to them in less than 20 years. It seems to me that the city of New York, for example, this is my last point, which had Negroes in it for a very long time. And the city of New York were able, as it has indeed been able, in the last 15 years to reconstruct itself, tear down buildings and raise great new ones, downtown and for money. And has done nothing whatever except build housing projects in the ghetto for the Negroes. And of course the Negroes hate it. Presently the property does indeed deteriorate because the children cannot bear it. They want to get out of the ghetto. If the American pretensions were based on more solid, a more honest assessment of life and of themselves, it would not mean for Negroes, when someone says urban renewal, that Negroes simply going to be thrown out into the streets, which is what it does mean now. It's not an act of God. We're dealing with a society made and ruled by men. If the American Negro had not been present in America, I am convinced that the history of the American labor movement would be much more edifying than it is. It is a terrible thing for an entire people to surrender to the notion that 1/9 of its population is beneath them. And until that moment, until the moment comes, when we, the Americans, we, the American people, are able to accept the fact that I have to accept, for example, that my ancestors are both white and black, that on that continent we are trying to forge a new identity for which we need each other. that I am not a ward of America. I am not an object of missionary charity. I am one of the people who built the country. Until this moment, there is scarcely any hope for the American dream, because the people who are denied participation in it by their very presence will wreck it. And if that happens, it's a very grave moment for the West. Thank you.
William F. Buckley coming up next. We're gonna be biased and tell you some bullshit, but we gonna still listen though. You know what I'm saying?
Tremendously moving moment now. The whole of the Union standing and applauding this magnificent speech of James Baldwin. Never seen this happen before in the Union in all the years that I have known it. Baldwin smiling, obviously delighted by his reception, tremendously moved by it.
Cut the clapping now. We cut the clapping now. Take it all out. We just want to hear a debate.
I am now very grateful and very pleased to be able to call Mr. William F. Buckley Jr. to speak forth to this motion.
Yeah, you got this.
Now we have Mr. William Buckley, who will need all his skill to establish a sentence here of his audience, which has clearly been so deeply moved by the eloquence or personal experience of the preceding speaker.
Take our reverend gentlemen. It seems to me that of all the indictments Mr. Baldwin, his native America, here tonight and in his copious literature of protest, the one that is most striking involves, in effect, the refusal of the American community to treat him other than as a Negro. The American community has refused to do this.
That's what the problem is. There's no such thing as
The American community, almost everywhere you go,
no such thing as
treats him with the kind of unction, the kind of satisfaction at posturing carefully for his flagellations of our civilization, that indeed, quite properly, commands the contempt which he so eloquently showers upon us. It is impossible, in my judgment, to deal with the indictment of Mr. Baldwin unless one is prepared to deal with him as a white man. Unless one is prepared to say to him, the fact that your skin is black is utterly irrelevant to the arguments that you raise. The fact that you sit here, as is your rhetorical device, and lay the entire weight of the Negro ordeal on your own shoulders is irrelevant to the argument that we are here to discuss. The gravamen of Mr.
all
Baldwin's
black
charges
people carry shit on my goddamn shoulders.
are not so much that our civilization has failed him and his people, that our ideals are insufficient, but that we have no ideals. That our ideals rather are some sort of a superficial coating which we come up with at any given moment in order to justify whatever commercial and noxious experiment we are engaged in. Thus, Mr. Baldwin can write his book, The Fire Next Time, in which he threatens America. He didn't, in writing that book, speak with the British accent that he used exclusively tonight, in which he threatened America with the necessity for us to jettison our entire civilization
The only thing that the white man has, the Negro should want, he said, is power. And he is treated from coast to coast in the United States with a kind of ambition doesn't choose to give way. The interruption now, he has done. The interruption now said goes beyond anything that was ever expected from the most servile Negro creature by a Southerner. I propose to pay him the honor this night of saying to him, Mr. Baldwin, I am going to speak to you without any reference whatever to those surrounding protections which you are used to in virtue of the fact that you are a Negro. And here we need to ask the question, what in fact shall we do about it, Mr. President? What shall we in America try to do, for instance, to eliminate those psychic humiliations which I join Mr. Baldwin in believing are the very worst aspects of this discrimination? You found that a source of considerable mirth to laugh away the statistics of my colleague, Mr. Rifford. I don't think they are insignificant, but they are certainly not insignificant in a world which attaches a considerable importance to material progress. It is, in fact, the case that 7/10 of the white income of the United States is equal to the income that is made by the average Negro. I don't think this is an irrelevant statistic, ladies and gentlemen. It takes a capitalization of $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 per job in the United States. This is a capitalization that was not created exclusively as a result of Negro travail. My great-grandparents worked too. Presumably yours worked also. I don't know of anything that has ever been created without the expense of something. All of you who hope for a diploma here are going to do that at the expense of a considerable amount of effort. And I would thank you.
Your grandparents didn't go through what my grandparents went
through. A considerable amount of effort went into the production of a system which grants a greater degree of material well-being to the American Negro than that is enjoyed by 95% of the other peoples of the human race. But even so, to the extent that your withering laughter has suggested here that you found this a contemptible observation, I agree. I don't think it matters that there are 35 millionaires among the Negro community. If there were 20 million millionaires among the Negro community of the United States, I would still agree with you that we have a dastardly situation. But I'm asking you not to make politics as the crow flies, to use the fleeted phrase of Professor Oakeshott, but rather to consider what in fact is it we Americans ought to do. What are your instructions that I'm to take back to the United States, my friend? I want to know what it is that we should do. And especially I want to know whether it is time, in fact, to abandon the American dream as it has been defined by Mr. Haycock, Mr. Rifford. What, in fact, is it that we ought to do, for instance, to avoid two humiliations mentioned by Mr. Baldwin as being a part of his own experience during his lifetime. At the age of 12, you will find on reading his book, he trespassed outside the ghetto of Harlem and was taken by the scruff of the neck by a policeman on 42nd Street and Madison Avenue and said, "Here, you nigger, go back to where you belong." 15, 20 years later, he goes in and asks for a Scotch whiskey at the airport at Chicago and is told by the white barman that he is obviously underage and under the circumstances cannot be served. I know from your faces that you share with me the feeling of compassion and the feeling of outrage that this kind of thing should have happened. What, in fact, are we going to do to this policeman? And what, in fact, are we going to do to this barman? How are we going to avoid the kind of humiliations that are perpetually visited on members of a minority race? Obviously, the first element is concern. We've got to care that it happens. We've got to do what we can to change the warp and woof of moral thought in society in such fashion as to try to make it happen less and less.
What up?
Let me urge this point to you, which I can do with authority, my friend. The only thing that I can tonight. And that is to tell you that in the United States, there is a concern for the Negro.
See, I'm
Now,
not good
if you
cousin.
get up to me and say,
I look good too.
if you get up to me and say, well, now, is there the kind of concern that we students of Cambridge, which was the problem of all I can say is I don't know.
I'm gonna go back to
It
Brandon.
may very well be that there has been some sort of a sunburst of moral enlightenment that has hit this day, so as to make it predictable that if you were the governors of the United States, the situation would change overnight.
What's his name? That's your boyfriend in the car? What's his name? What his name? Yeah.
You cannot go to a university in the United States. University in the United States will still be also governed by the Lord's Spirit, in which Mr. Baldwin is you cannot go to a university in the United States in which practically all other problems are I challenge you to name me another civilization anytime, anywhere in the history in which the power is a minority, which has been showing considerable material and but let me just say finally, ladies and gentlemen, there is no and everybody who tells you that boring precisely because it is then speaking the kind of abstractions that they the trouble in America with Negro communities is a very I urge those of you who have an actual ideology ways of support points back that the situation in America where the Negroes are concerned is extremely complex. Unfortunately, what is the dreadful of the lack of that final and ultimate concern so it is as a result of the same there of the Negro community itself to make certain
I told him about you already. I told him about you already.
Oh, it's all good. That's what's up. Y'all need some of that, though, so y'all riding around. That's the car freshener, man.
He says, for instance,
Spray that up. No, that's car freshener for your car. Spray it on you. That's for the car. Spray it. Yeah, flower bomb. That's for the car. To knock all that shit out. You got some more weed?
Huh?
Got some more weed? Got some more? What you got?
But in fact, that particular energy.
I mean, you sell weed? Oh. Hey, well, give me a bud then. Shit, y'all can stand it.
We should focus.
Yeah, I don't give a damn. Get what you want. Yeah. Y'all get what y'all want and give me a bud. We even swallow splendor. You know what I'm saying? Even swallow splendor. Huh?
Where the Negro is concerned, the danger is as far as I can see it.
I'm talking about a Bud Light, y'all.
Is that they will seek to reach out
Right.
to some sort
Did you get you what you want? Take it that Baccarat 540, that Baccarat. Get that no, that's burning oil. Get that Baccarat. It's a 5 BC road, some B road, a whole bunch of them.
for some sort of a cross-human coordination within
Right there. Baco Rock Road. Baco Rock Road.
These times that many people in New York City on the Negroes are.
The Baco Rock Road.
This is a problem.
Hey, y'all can both wear that though. That's unisex.
Laws that encourage the literacy of white people. This, unfortunately, tends to be the rhetorical rhythm.
Where y'all coming from?
One thing you might do is
Oh, okay.
What were you?
I couldn't agree with
How old is it?
How old is
Well,
I'm 18 now.
except,
I'm
that's
18.
I appear to ingratiate.
And she's working, yeah.
I think actually,
For
it
what?
is wrong.
So are you? Oh man, you have to just a little bit. I don't want to. Yeah, I've done ran out my shit. Just want a little blunt. That's all. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Grab your oil too, man. Gonna grab something up out of there, man. That's you over there. Gonna grab something up out of there. Smell it before you buy them now. Don't grab, man. Better.
It's not that they pull.
Got that Baccarat robe now. That Baccarat.
Not that they
Think about that Baccarat. That fire. That truth. Okay, okay. Hey, I'll be around though, you know what I'm saying? You know what time it is. All right. Love you, cuz.
So as to disqualify 65% of the white people who are present. Not simply.
Appreciate it.
Well, I say then that what we need is a concern.
All right, so
That acknowledges that there are two sets of difficulties. The difficulties of the white person who acts as white people and brown people as black people to protect their own vested interests, who have all races and self-esteem, a claim of a racial narcissism. Which tends always to hurt every contingency. So you don't also reach through to the Negro people and tell them.
I don't need no spots.
Yeah.
I don't know about no motherfucking spots. Pull up in your goddamn doorstep, goddamn it. I don't give a fuck about no spots. Pull up. Worry about those spots. He just asked me to come out here, and I came out here because, you know what I'm saying?
But
you know all that was going on. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's just no talk, man. Again, I mean, you talking about a person who said he didn't know nobody in Tampa, so you know, it's one of them.
The great United States
You don't even know nobody in Tampa. It's like, so to try to get to know me, you got to get to know me, and then he can't get to know me because he ain't even around. You know, he pop up, you know, do his thing, and then he's gone. So it's just like, yeah, what it is.
But the fundamental trend of the Negro people in the United States is the nature and is the generosity and is the good wishes, is the decency, fundamental decency, the do lie, at the resilience of the spirit of the United people. These must not be last, but under no circumstances must under no circumstances must America be advanced and hold that the only alternative is to overthrow that civilization which we consider to be the faith of our fathers, or the faith indeed of your fathers. This is what must animate whatever neaterism must come, because if it does finally come to a confrontation, a radical confrontation between giving up what we understand to be the best features of the American way of life, which at that level is indistinguishable as far as I can see from European way of life, then we will fight the issue. And we will fight the issue not only in the Cambridge Union, but we will fight it as you were once recently called to do on beaches and on hills and on mountains and we will be convinced that just as you are won in a war against a particular threat, this year you will nevertheless wage a war in favor and for the benefit of Germans, your own enemies, just as we are convinced that if it should ever come to that kind of confrontation, our own determination to win the struggle will be a determination to wage a war not only for whites, but also for Negroes.
You get a clap for that? You got a little clap for that. His ass was short too. He couldn't even talk. That boy Baldwin rolled out about the hot 20. It was a 55-minute debate. He took up 25 minutes of the debate. The other people took up the first 10 minutes, so that means you only got like 10 minutes to damn talk. He wrapped up all that shit in 10 minutes. Man, you ain't make no motherfucking argument, man.
The motion is therefore carried by 380 votes. Declare the House to stand adjourned.
The hell's the vote? I don't know what the result was. Real, man, wake up time, man. Ain't got no time for the fool. No, you ain't got no time for the fool. All I'm saying, ain't got no time for the fool. Malcolm X. A rap on race. Blair Underwood. Say Blair Underwood. Yeah.
What's she doing over there?
No, Blair.
Oh, Blair.
The old black dude, Blair Underwood.
When they walk in the door, I will say to them, welcome to success, say goodbye to failure, because here you are going to fail. I'm not going to let you fail. You're here to win. You were born to win. If I have to care more about you than you care about you, that's the way it will be. This day has been given to me. Fresh and clean. I can either use it or throw it away. I promise that it shall be used, not lost. I will be superior in my ability, in my thoughts, in my deeds, and in my actions. And you must be.
This is Marva Collins, a Chicago City school teacher who, dissatisfied with her own children's education,
Marva
decided
Collins.
to start her own school.
Basically, 5 years ago, I just felt that there were far too many children being recruited for failure. Far too many excuses being used for not educating children. Living in this area myself, I really felt that somehow there were far too many lives just hanging out there in a perilous vacuum. So I decided that whatever I did, I could do no worse. So I decided to start my own school.
Westside Preparatory School was born September 8, 1975, located in Marva's Westside Chicago home. Marva operated the school in their home for 4 years. In 1980, Westside Preparatory expanded into this former bank building a few blocks from Marva's home. Here, Marva added a staff of teachers who utilize her teaching methods with 200 students of different age levels.
What is this? Very, very good. Okay, the vowel is and the word is fa. The vowel is and the word is fa. Okay. I think schools are failing because, first of all, teachers are so busy trying to make children conform to what they want them to be. And I think teachers are constantly trying to bend children to the way they think they should be. And I want to give children my love and my confidence, but emphatically want them to have their own thoughts. I would hope their thoughts would be their own. Okay, what's the name of it? Speak up. That was a witch by whom? Jane, Mary, or whom? William Shakespeare. No, he didn't. Chaucer wrote. No, he didn't. Geoffrey Chaucer wrote. Very good. Because the teacher's mouth is no prayer. What? It's no prayer book. Okay? Your brain is just as good as mine. You think for your what? You think for yourself. It's always the children are the big U's and we are the little I's. The teachers are not the big I's in our school. No teacher in our school has a desk. We do not have a chair nor a teacher's desk. We walk all day. We serve the children. We find something positive to say about a child every morning. I like your gym shoes. I like your ribbon. I like your blue jeans. We find something to say good to a child every morning. That's just as important as the curriculum. What do we say? Shazade affairs. Shazade affairs means a what? Okay. Oh, that's good. Very, very good. Shazade affairs means simple words. See, that's what I mean. We learn how to learn. See, I didn't have to tell him. When I was talking about the first TH word, he found one on his what? On his own. Okay? What does that say now? To develop success without competition is to feel good about yourself, realizing that each one of us are very, very unique and that principles enunciated is really no good if we do not act them out. But here each child knows that they're very, very unique, that they're very special. And I think each child develops his own self-esteem, so there's no need to be competitive.
When you're working with children, it's how you teach them. It's a certain way you teach them. I've gone to other schools and I've seen how they work with children, but it's nothing like she would teach them. She always tells them that you will never fail. You will always succeed.
That's right. And the poison? And the poison. Very good. I think people attribute really what I do as being a miracle when it's simply hard work and preparation. Other teachers can get the same results that I get by developing a positive attitude. However, I have had many teachers work with me. And I think until one is open to suggestions of I want to become a better teacher, I want to become a better anything. It doesn't have to be a teacher. And I think once we stop striving to be better and settle for average, then that's about it.
Once again, I do not own the copyright
For
to
some
the audio
students,
being
time
played.
spent in the classroom
Educational
setting is
purpose
not enough.
only. Check out
Marva reserves the first hour of
WGRadio.com.
each day for a student who needs individual attention.
What we do is I have them come in like an hour early so that I can give them an hour of my free time with just that child and I. Circle at the top, question mark. And ask that question. Very good. Swing back down to the line.
In one respect, Marva Collins is a very hard, dedicated teacher. See, when you're dedicated, everything else falls in line. Everything is easy. But if you're not dedicated, right, naturally you
Look at that
really can't
natural hell,
put
boy.
out what you really want to. So
Oh, I'm talking
a lot of
about
times I come in and I work with the children at 7:30.
the natural hell.
School actually starts at 9.
Nigga
And I
miss
work
it.
with the children. They're often
Yeah,
going to
watch,
the
you
board.
gotta watch the old YouTube videos just to see some old good natural hell. What's really happening.
They love to come in, but now we have full school coming in an hour early. If I say, Bruce, you come in the morning so I can help you. That doesn't mean everyone come in, but before I know it, everyone is coming in early in the morning, not wanting to go home at the end of the day, saying, where did the day go? And our school is very special because we don't take results, so you would think children would be bored. But they go down one stairwell and sneak back in. That's the worst problem we have with them at the day is getting them to go home. What's the vow? The vow is
They feel somebody gonna learn something more than them.
I think many people don't treat teaching as a profession where there are a set of very basic skills that you have to learn and put together in a certain way so that you get good or superior results. And she just has a way of putting together the program so that we can bring those things out of the children.
Everyone say it. Look, all right. The word is blend. Listen to the key vowel in the middle. It, blend.
One of the major teaching tools at Westside Prep is the teaching of phonics. Phonics teaches not just the letters of the alphabet, but all the individual sounds of the English language.
There are about 93 basic sounds in the English language, more or less. Phonics, you simply learn every sound, syllables in words that we speak in the English language or any other language, and you sound the sounds out that are next to each other. For example, in the word mother, there are 4 basic sounds there. Right? They can be spoken, they can be written. We teach the children how they look, and we teach them how to write the sounds. That's phonics. Basic sounds in the English language. The children use them for spelling, for writing compositions.
We used to have Mr.
If you
M.
know your sounds, you can read and
With a
write.
munchy mouth.
That's
Oh,
phonics.
munch, munch, munch. Oh, munch, munch, munch. See what I'm saying? But pronunciation, we had all of it.
Whatever a child can read in our school, they can also spell. For example, when most children learn the cutesy alphabet song A, B, C, D, E, F, G, we teach them all the spellings that will ever be in this world for A, and that's E-I-G-H-A, A-I-G-H-A, E-Y-A, A-I-A, A blank E-A. Because there'll never be any more. Block you, airplane, man, lariat, wet, pop sound, look, baby bird, yellow. Now we're sound of phonics songs. Here are our signals E, I, and Y. What are our signals? E, I, and Y. And see, a child is missing that many spellings. That's what
Shit, I'm learning.
because most teachers do not want to take the time to really sit there and teach them the heavy doses of phonics, the average PH word, not the child's word loop. And yet we tell children to use the dictionary. How on earth is a child going to find the word pneumonia unless some teacher is telling them that the P is silent and you take those silent words in isolation?
They don't
That
supposed to
means
find
that
knife.
teachers on there
When they
see
say
nothing
knife,
like
goddamn
what
it, I'm
not
looking
some
up
shit
NIL.
for your children.
Yeah, the word is blend.
Our children learn in patterns. Our children know the rules I before E, except after C, unless our E has the sound of A as in neighbor and way. They know the Italian CH as in Andromache, Achilles. They know the French CH as in Charlemagne, and they know the American CH as in
Real shit.
chair. Okay? Now the Italian
Real
CH
education.
is,
Real
let's say
education.
it. A. What does it say? Champagne. Like Charlemagne on the board for me. Okay? That's the French CH.
That's in
what?
Chicago,
They
right?
not only know this, they know the words
That's what it
too.
said.
They know what they
Yeah.
mean. But it
It
means
is.
that I have to take these words in isolation during the entire year. But that's why we never give assigned spelling lists. Because what happens when you're assigned spelling words, they learn to spell them to pass a test. And 2 weeks later, they can't spell them.
Dump.
Very good. Now you give Michael a hand. Okay, what does that say? Charlemagne. Charlemagne. Okay? You see the difference between, what's the difference between this word and that word? The what? What happens? The vowel signal E hits the vowel before it and makes it say it's what? Makes it say its name. You see, look, E, I, and Y are like the red lights, the traffic lights. They're vowel what? They're vowel signals.
That's the advantage of knowing phonics, because once you know a sound, you recognize it in any word, anywhere, no matter how small the word is, no matter how large.
Well, we had hooked on
Not my
phonics and
finger,
shit.
but my puppy is what?
had all of this. They just dumped all the fucking real education out of education.
Finger, but my puppy is cute. C-U says Q. Q-U says what? What?
Marva's phonics program gets results. Students are reading well above grade levels. Students who came here because they had not learned to read in other schools.
We get the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old children that no one else will take. But our 6th grade is still 13.1, which is a college freshman level, which says that these children are bright children all the time. They simply needed someone who believed in them. They've taken the Iowa test, they've taken the California test, and I said, was a test difficult? They'll tell me after you learn to adjust the rhinoceros, you can adjust anything. And they always say to me, after being here, we can pass anyone's test, we can do anything. Okay? What's the name of the play again? Macbeth. Come on, Macbeth. Okay, by whom? Okay, and this is one of his tragedies. And what did I tell you the theme of the story is? Thou shalt what? Thou shalt not kill. Now, all stories have symbols, okay? Batman and Robin are what? A symbols of justice over evil. Now, the symbols in this story, boys and girls, blood, the witches. Now, the witches predict, but Macbeth determines. People predict anything they want, but only we can determine whether it comes true or not. I can say, oh, you're so
And it's
stupid.
black kids, white kids,
That's my prediction. But only you can make it come what?
They really got
That's why we should never let people tell us what we can, what we can't, what. Only you can determine what happens. Now, after we finish reading today, that's going to be your written composition.
two little white boys in Spanish little boys.
I what? I determine.
Marva's curriculum is interconnected. Here Marva teaches Shakespeare to children ranging in age from 5 to 12. She does not separate children strictly by age and even mixes kids of different skill levels in the same class. Within one lesson, she will deal with story concepts, spelling, phonics, and composition. It's all part of Marva's all-out effort to help these kids learn.
Well, our children, our 4-year-olds, our aim is to have them reading by Christmas. So we deal heavily on heavy doses of phonics. We start them with the multiplication tables. They choose as soon as they learn to compute, to add. We start them with 2 times 3. We teach them the multiplication tables of 2s, 3s, and 4s. By Christmas, they're dividing and doing simple multiplication. They are reading, or they begin with Aesop's fables. And they begin with the American folk rhymes. We
had Aesop's fables.
Folk tales and the red hen. We point out that the moral of that story is if you don't work, you don't eat. Right. And that's the motto of our school. Near lunchtime, every child will say, if you don't work, you don't eat. And I think really school should be a minute society where children learn to function in a larger scope, in a larger world. It seems now that school becomes more or less just a bypassing thing that children have to go to until you're a certain age, instead of really making them love school and love learning, where they become lifters and not leaners in the world. Because every man who lifts feels better than the man who leans. You have to reach high. You have to aim high, okay?
Facts.
Don't feel badly, because Shakespeare is very difficult to read in the first place, and it is
deep, boy.
literature. Okay?
No, I feel better lifted than leaning over all the damn time. Oh, that means your back hurt. Leaning over, your back hurt. Lift it up. Oh, yeah. Good stretch.
The thing of Cardor lives. How can we ever separate reading and thinking from any subject? A child can't do well in typing class unless they know how to read and think. A child can't do well in biology, chemistry, or anything unless they have the ability to think. Okay, he said, hallelujah, you're reading, praise the Lord.
Double, torn in trouble. Fire burning, cauldron bubble. Fill it with a finished snake. And the cauldron boiling bake. I have Newton toe of frog. Willabet and tongue of dog. Apple squawks and flying with me. Lizard legs and hard. Boy, charm for power.
I'm saying them damn spells.
Not my help, I'm bored and bubble.
Very good, Helena Thurston.
Marva's curriculum concentrates on the basics: reading, math, and composition.
I
There
mean,
are no
they ain't know
drills,
better,
no
but I'm
athletics,
just-
not even recess. Children stay in one room all day with one teacher. Because of this concentrated effort, Westside sets high goals for its students.
Those who cannot read will be reading, as has happened this past year. Those who are already reading will be superior readers, as well as writers, computers, and math, that they will simply develop 3 times as fast as they would normally in another setting.
People predict, I determine. I determine how I wish to live my life, how I can make it succeed, and keep it joyful. No one but me can do this. No one but me.
Ian's essay reflects one of our major premises of education here at Westside Prep. You are in charge of your own life. No one can tell you how to shape your life, what to do. We try to give the children the inspiration and the determination. We try to draw out of them the very best that's in them, to give them the skills that they need for the future so that they can be the creative, productive people we know they can be.
This because we all are smart in some way. No one is better than the other. Just remember, people predict, you determine.
No one can predict who or what you are going to become. You are in charge of your own life. You determine what you will do. That's what it's all about.
Roundabout. In the garden and everyone.
I'm playing this to the community. I mean, it's a whole apartment complex next door. You know, hopefully one kid, you know what I'm saying, is listening.
Marva gets her classroom materials from a variety of sources. The children's section of the local bookstore, weekly reviews of new children's books, the library section of children's classics. Marva believes teachers should not limit themselves to standard classroom textbooks.
I call them 2x4 teachers. They are bounded by the 2 covers of that book and the 4 walls of the classroom. It's like children living in a neighborhood and never realizing that there's a wider world out there. Well, it's the same thing with a teacher. To just read what's given to me in a classroom and not explore other means, not to explore other things, to me is really a crime.
A major factor in any learning environment is dealing successfully with discipline problems. Marva has her own unique approach.
The severe discipline problem, I think I always think of a little story. It's like the little boy who'd been to 14 different schools. And the mother came to me in April, just begging and crying and pleading. We were here in the house at that time. My husband had been working on something upstairs. He had left the hammer in the bathroom. The child picked up the hammer that day after one of the children in the classroom. So I looked directly in his eyes, very serious, and said, you know, the good Lord gave you a head because he thought you knew how to use it. I have a closet just filled with heads of little boys who didn't know how to use them. And I keep them until I find a little boy who really knows how to use them. If I ever see you with that hammer after another child, I'm not going to move the hammer. I'm not going to put things away that you should not have. We use hammers to nail things with and not to attack people. I am going to knock that nice head off your heads and shoulders. And you won't have to worry about the burden of carrying it around anymore. I'm not going to call you mother. You're here to stay. I love you, but I'm not going to have that. No more problems. I promise that this day shall be used, not lost. Gained, not thrown away. It is my life. I refuse to let Mrs. Collins love me more than I love myself. Because I do love you, and you can't stop me
Look at
from
the knowledge
loving you, and I'm
time.
not going to let you fail, so sit down
Hold
and
up.
put food.
Put that thing on there, man. You know, I'm leaving it
Because you don't have a choice.
What?
And that's a beautiful paper. We're going to put it up tomorrow.
First we get in November.
inside is like Michelangelo.
Oh, okay, that ain't our thing though.
Turned around mentally, inside is
Oh,
an
okay.
angel trying to get out.
Yeah,
And I
but
just
ours
always
is
think of that,
20.
that a lot of the toughness and the tough talk that these children
Well, LaGrange is
talk through
22nd,
on the
ain't it?
street, inside is a
Of this
child
month?
who really wants
I mean, of
to do
November.
something. It's a child who really wants
Ain't that
not
a
to have
party?
to come in with a new show every day. That's a pressure on that child, and he's begging for someone to relieve him of that pressure. And I think the once he finds the one person that relieves him of that acting out, relieves him of that pressure, then he is at peace with himself.
I don't know why I thought we had
No
something
child
going on.
gives that child an audience. So therefore, there is no need for him to act out. There's no laughing if he gets smart alecky or he comes out with a comment. Everyone continues to work as if he said the most normal thing in the world. Right?
He want
They don't pick up on it, okay?
What you want
I
on?
find the child who's acting out, who's shooting the spitballs of the
A cold dirt?
who's clowning and goofing around. I still like to find that child with my hand on the shoulder and talk directly to that child. You're gonna
Saying what your folder?
talk,
Yeah.
and you're
I'm talking
gonna
about just your folder. Yeah.
learn. Yeah.
That we talking about?
I know you can do it because you're very audacious. And I think we ignore these children. They're usually sitting in the back of the room. They're the ones that are farthest behind. And I think, again, we forget what it's like to be a child. Teachers never bother to ask children if there's a problem in the home. Usually, when children act out, when children are not learning, it's a signal that something is wrong, such as our illness.
I mean, I give him your folder.
Something is wrong with us, and I
You
don't
want to
think
do that?
I can
That's
do
all
this.
slowed down or whatever.
I consider myself parent and teacher. It's my responsibility to let my lessons go for a few minutes to find out what's bothering the child. Here, so we have the pencil is broken and you aren't. Just we can get enough pencil. Many people from now have been very, very quiet children. And I think we have to examine that. Maybe we're not teaching this child. And I've heard teachers say, stop the doodling. But if I have a child who likes to draw in that classroom, I'll say, that's a beautiful picture.
Well, I dropped the whole James Baldwin debate on him right before this.
He's also got this goal.
The whole James Baldwin debate.
I think you have to
What?
always use.
Dropped the whole thing with the music, you know, with the beats. This Marva Collins.
They're constantly chewing gum. I'll have
I hit him with
the art of chewing gum.
Judge Brown, Joe Brown, 3 hours yesterday. Bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. I was kind of ducking down. That nigga was put out some shit like,
Give me an ass. Give me
I mean, he put some shit like, even the shit on Trump and all that. He was like, I said, damn.
I like reading.
Damn.
You.
That's crazy.
Universal children. I don't think red, green, white, pinstripe, polka dot. I
Yeah,
think
it's,
it's universal.
I've been dropping some jewels out here, boy. I've been letting it go.
Whatever,
Like,
and I say to our children, that's that person's problem.
not last night. I had well, no, I was here last night till about 9.
Must all be universal.
And then I was gone by 9.
Not just here in your neighborhood, citizens like us, citizens of the world.
About 4.
Of the world, who the child has skills, good about it.
Yeah, I ain't over here, then I was gone. I didn't stay that long, though.
I love the way you try it. Let's give him a big head.
Yeah, Monday. Yeah, I was here.
And then he gets another head because he tried.
And I think basically a child knows that
You
you are
want,
concerned about them, and you're working.
you just want the
very
cold dirt.
closely.
Not all the
And I
instrumentals and
feel
everything else in
that
the bowl.
discipline problem can be corrected.
Just the cold dirt show. The cold dirt. Oh,
Nothing wrong with you.
the new one I did. That.
You honor somebody because God didn't make any junk. It's all right. I can't forget your last name. Don't worry
That's
about it.
that.
Calm down.
That's your one.
They can help you. Okay? The same problem, children have problems all the way around. There's no lunch, no money, no skills, no self-image either. It's really because they never really discovered the unique them. They never really discovered that what they're seeking for is already within them. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Somehow children read that all across the country, and teachers never point out to the children, oh, it's a cute story. They never point out the moral of the story, that what they're looking for, each one has. The lion already has courage. It's all within our realm. We stop looking outside of us for it. You can, Scott. You can. If you don't think too thoroughly, you can. You can, right?
The success of these children and of Westside Preparatory School is the result of dedication, positive thinking, hard work, and love. Patricia Jurgens offers a final thought for teachers who want their students to say, I can.
Teach yourself. Learn as much as you can about education. Never assume that you know it all.
Right.
I've been teaching 10 years. I've learned so much from Marva. Never assume that because somebody has given you a superior rating, that this automatically makes you superior. We're never finished learning. Teach yourself. Continue to learn. Continue to grow so that the children that you're teaching can also grow.
Regardless of how far behind a child is, it's my responsibility, it's their responsibility, it's our responsibility as educators to make sure that the child does not stay there. In other words, to make the poor student good and the good student security with no excuses in between.
Right. You catching it right at the end. Just wrapped up James Baldwin. Then I just wrapped up Marva Collins, Success. That was back in 1981. You know what I'm saying? She started a school in Chicago, and it just basically went through her teaching styles and the how she went from a small, home school to an actual school, you know what I'm saying, and maintain that same mindset and curriculum, you know what I'm saying? And so it's been a part of my, education night, you know what I'm saying?